I am very much glad to welcome our Honorable Principal, Dr. B. Gunalan sir, and I am very happy to welcome our resource person, Dr. N. Shegar, academician and trainer, EC member, NHRD Hosur chapter. And I would like to welcome our most respectable Vice Principal, Mr. Bhaskar sir, and our dynamic coordinator, Mr. J. Jebubi Raja sir, and our Dr. Krishnamurthy sir, founder, director, CARE India Limited, Balachandra sir, joint director, CARE India Private Limited, and heads of KSG College, my faculty friends, and various college virtual participants. I welcome you all once again. Thank you. Ma'am, you can start, ma'am.
Okay. I'm Geeta. I'm from CARE. I'm going to present a small PPT about our CARE. CARE is a Chidambaram Academy of Refinement and Enrichment. On behalf of CARE, I welcome you all for our online session. And actually, CARE was started on 5/9/2006 and named after the renowned freedom fighter, Mr. V.O. Chidambaram of Thuthukudi. The main objective of CARE is societal development through human resource development. And actually, you can find us. We have 11 zonal offices across South India, and you can find us in all over South India. And what we are doing in CARE is training and development. We do the following trainings: soft skill training, faculty and student development, outboard training workshops. We do this kind of trainings here. Guidance and counseling. We do legal support also. We help students and students in recruitment, and these are all our other services. This is our CSR activities, and this is our founder director of CARE, Dr. R. Krishnamurthy. He is a professor, psychologist, trainer, advocate, and a social worker. And this is our joint director, Mr. S. Balachandra, director, ELM World Academy, Hosur. And you can contact us for any training programs through these mobile numbers, and you can also visit our website. And we have CARE HRD for Success YouTube channel, where you can find motivational videos, and you can find us in Facebook also. And thank you. And now we can start the program, and the platform is all yours, Shekhar sir, and you can carry on.
Hello.
Yes, shall I start?
Bhupati sir? Bhupati sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Very good morning to one another person here. I'm going to give short presentation about our Dr. Shegar sir. Dr. Shegar, MA, MBA, and PhD is academician and trainer. EC member, NHRD Hosur chapter. Dr. N. Shegar worked as many companies like Carbondrum Universal Limited, Sundaram Fasteners Limited, Railway Products Limited, and Bohaler Limited. And he has worked with the reputed educational group handling entire HR and placement activities apart from teaching for MBA and BE students. And now he is leading the Industry Institute initiative of NHRD Hosur chapter. He has published more than 7 papers, and 7 international and national papers have presented. And he has conducted many FDP and certification programs. And he got a lot of recognition from Microsoft Innovative Educator and Rotary India Literacy Mission, National Builder Award, a national conference on managing people in digital era, and presented several webinars during the lockdown period for students and faculty members on the topics of employability and motivation during tough times. Thank you, sir. We are welcoming you, and we are very proud of your presence here. We are very much proud about your presence here, and we are welcoming once again. Thank you.
Thank you for the
Thank
introduction.
you, sir.
Shekhar sir, you can start the presentation, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I first of all would like to thank the KSG College Management and Madam Sri Priya in particular for this initiative and inviting me to share my ideas on campus to corporate role of teachers with all the educators. I also thank Dr. Krishnamurthy, Mr. Balchandar and Mrs. Geeta for all their efforts and coordination to bring this program into shape. So let us get into the presentation. So first of all, I would like to congratulate you all and salute you all for taking this profession, teaching, because teaching is one profession which builds all the professions. And our today's topic, campus to corporate, is all about helping our students to go to various professions and succeeding there. During their stay in colleges, how we should motivate them, how we should help them to get their dream careers. This is the presentation today. So while I was going through your KSG College website, I was attracted by these words: a great career without a great education is only a dream. We are nothing but just helping you to realize a dream. So your college also says that getting a great career is the ultimate aim of education, and for that good education is needed. Good education in the sense not only knowledge, a theoretical education give, you also have to give them the required skills and attitude. So all the three, knowledge, skills and attitude together constitute that employability, and this what make them great to go to next level and realize their dreams. So we are in very difficult times now. As you all know, we are affected by this pandemic, which is unforeseen, and the magnitude of this nobody could foresee in past. And for past 2 months, we are experiencing this, and this has changed our whole paradigm of thinking, working. We are forced to stay indoors. From indoors only, we have to maintain our health, maintain our contacts, do our work, do our learning. All this we have to do from our home. So difficult times disrupt your conventional ways of thinking. It has disrupted the way we used to work, think, develop our relations, how we used to learn. All these things it has disrupted, but this will give rise to a new habits of thought, performance and being, because it will force you to change your lifestyle and equip yourselves with all the required skills. Then only you can be better for the future. So first, before getting into our presentation, how to stay motivated in these hard times. This is also an important point I thought before getting into our presentation, because once we are out of this pandemic and during this pandemic, if we stay motivated, then only we can go for the next phase. So how do we stay motivated during these hard times? Our experiences make us learn, and we have to keep focusing on our goals. From the past experiences, we should see how we can get over this, and we should, in the present, we should keep focusing on our goals, because after some time this pandemic will be over and we have to come back to our regular lives. But to be in line with these present circumstances and going forward, we have to change our attitude. We have to gain new skills and knowledge. So how do we do that? That's the thing we have to do. Since the main objective of this presentation is company campus to corporate, we will focus on things which are affected by this pandemic. That is how our economy is affected, our job situation is affected. So we have to look for situations in the past when our economy is affected like this in a big way, and how we came out of this, because our past is the mirror from which we can see the future. In the past, how we came over the situation and how we should equip ourselves during this present situation and be prepared for the future. So since we are talking about unemployment or campus to corporate employability, all these, there are two things. One is demand and other is supply side. Supply side is how we equip ourselves. That is how you prepare your students to take up the job that we see later. But we now see demand side. That is how high interest rates, global recession, and all these economic factors, financial crisis, how all these economic factors has affected our economy in the past and how we came out of this successfully. So the major disruptors of Indian economy. So first disruptor is 1991. LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. I think most of our students were not born at the time, and some of the faculty members maybe have seen or at least heard of this. But during our economics and other commerce subjects, we have heard of LPG because this is the one which has impacted our lives too much. First time it has given India an exposure to the outside world, and it has given an opportunity for us to cope with the external world. So what happened in 1991? Just small, a balance of payments crisis in 1991, which it pushed the country to near bankruptcy. Balance of crisis is exports versus imports. It has to be balanced, and we should have enough cash with us to pay for our imports. So the rupee was devalued. The value of our rupee was rock bottom, and the World Bank, taking this IMF and other World Bank institutions, have taken this advantage, and they wanted India to open itself to the world market, because as you know, India is the second most populous country apart from China. The market in India is very high, so everybody has a eye on that, and we were forced to open our market. But this decision was delayed by our politicians and rulers for long, but now we were forced into this. And to take such a decision to liberalize our economy is a huge decision that was taken by our then Prime Minister, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao. He is one of the architects of modern India, because he is the man who liberalized India, and not only liberalized, but he also supported the economy with his decisions. He removed red tapeism and all the license giri and all that, and helped companies to compete with the world-class companies. So that's how we liberated our economy and made us on the way to superpower. So we have to remember Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao for all his contribution. So in 1991, he had a minority government. Still, he was able to get the opposition parties to listen to him. He sold his idea to them that India getting liberalized is the only way out of that great grave situation. So he abolished license Raj and took all steps, and he helped India to on the way to the growing economy. So after that only, India became a major force in IT revolution. And once IT revolution has took off, you know how our youngsters were affected and impacted by that. Many became millionaires. Lot of our engineers went abroad. Lot of our Indians become world leaders. You know, Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, Rajat Kapoor, all those people, they went on to head the world companies. India has become a force to reckon with in the international market. So that is the thing in 1991, with the help of our leaders who took strong decisions and cooperation of all the people, we came over that situation and we went on to a progressive path. That was the first thing which disrupted our economy. Next, 2008 financial crisis. And this crisis, India actually had no role in this, or India has not done anything wrong. But since the world financial institutions are affected by this, especially this is the result of lifestyle of Americans and other Europeans, because they borrowed heavily for their housing and other needs. But when the economy went a bit down, they could not pay back, and all the major financing companies went bankrupt. Lehman Brothers, Federal, all these people went bankrupt. That is the financial crisis of 2007 and 8. So all the investment, commercial banks, mortgage lenders, insurance companies, savings companies, mutual funds, everything went down. And there was a great depression. India is also affected by this, but not to a great extent, because we had a very good system within our middle class. Our people did not used to go for EMI at the time as huge as they are going now. They used to save money from their packets for future and whenever there is a crisis. So they did not import much on the financial institutions and all that. So the government also helped the affected by giving a package. So we came out of the situation. This is the second situation. So we managed our cash flows, all this. So with that, the second crisis was over. Next, demonetization. Our Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, with the aim to remove corruption and terrorism funding. He demonetized 500 and 1,000 rupees. On overnight, he came on the TV and told that in future your 500,000 note will not be valid and people have to face lot of difficulties. Of course, he gave some time to exchange those notes, but there were huge crowds before the bank and there was a lot of criticization from economists, opposition leaders, but still most of the public, they believed that the Prime Minister has done it with good intentions, so they supported him. So we tided over that crisis. And what are the good things and bad things out of that? The good things are that income tax complaints, the income tax collections have gone up. There was some limitations in corruption and counterfeiting of notes. Then digitalization came in a big way. I think you must have heard of a company called Paytm. What they could not do for decades, the demonetization has done it. Then IT department, they caught hold of all those people with black money. They sent them notices and the compliance has increased. So that with the help of the people, we got over that crisis also. So next came GST. So this GST was a long pending economic tax reform, which people have to welcoming for a long time. But the way it's implemented, a lot of people criticized, but still it was a welcome move because we wanted one tax for the whole nation and we don't want our products to be taxed several times, thereby increasing its cost. So due to GST, initially the small business people were affected, but subsequently all of them understood the benefits and they all complied and everybody came into the tax bracket, tax revenue increased. And next, Industry 4.0. This is the next big disruptor which is going on now also. As you see, Industry 1 is mechanization, Industry 2 is mass production, Industry 3 is automation. We crossed over all that. Now we are in Industry 4.0. Cyber systems, physical system, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, data analytics, all these things are affecting our business and it has changed the industrial layout, how the industries functioned, and robots are taking over the repeated jobs. So there are no more manual jobs, all that will be taken over by robots, but this will pay for some new good jobs where if people are technically skilled. So that is the effect of the Industry 4.0. And this is also a great effect on a country like India, which has so much huge population. And out of that, there are so many percentage of youth who are not much qualified, but looking for jobs. So if you use properly, then we can tide over this situation also. This is about Industry 4.0, autonomous robots, system integration, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, big data analytics, autonomous robots, all these things. So we are just coping with this and suddenly this thing came. Now COVID came. COVID came to us very unexpectedly, but we observed lockdown and comparatively we were better off than other countries, but still this pandemic is spreading its tentacles on India. We have to collectively counter it. We have to listen to the government. We have to follow social distancing, and to all such measures, we have to collectively combat this. So what we have to do, we have to be a winner. We must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. So as Indians, as we saw in the last 4 or 5 economical disruptors, we came out good as a society. I'm sure we will come out of this also. So coming back to our topic, now there is a lot of pandemic, everything has become online. Does the teaching job changed? Has teaching lost importance? No, the one way the world hasn't changed, teaching is still the most important job. Technology is just a tool. Online, your Google Meet, your Zoom, and all these things are just tools. But to motivate kids to come to the seminar, webinar, and learn, the teacher is most important. This is said by our Microsoft Bill Gates. So the relevance of teacher is still there. So as teachers, we need not worry. So next, now we'll get into the important topic, our topic of the day: how to play the role of teacher effectively in campus to corporate process. How do we play our role effectively? So to play our role effectively, we have to first understand the state of higher education in India. How many people enroll for secondary education? How many come till higher secondary education? Then after that, crossing out that barrier, how many go till UG, PG? All that things we have to think. Next, the profile of learner we have to think. How is the learner today? All the methods which we used to teach for old timers will not work today, because today's learner is very different in terms of his attitude, in terms of how he learns, in terms of his technological proficiency, is very, very, very different. So you have to first understand him, then only you can teach him and make him to learn. You have to understand his expectations from the college and teachers, then only you can fulfill it. And you have to understand his objectives for coming to college. All this you have to take care. Next, companies' expectations. And what are the companies expecting out of freshers? In our older times, when our dads and grandpas used to work, the things were very different. They used to join a company and they used to retire in that company. Whatever learning he wanted, that will be taken care of by the companies. And once after this liberalization and all that, companies have become global. They want to compete with global economy. So they don't have time to take people and train them. So what we have to do, once he comes out of college, he should be ready to go to job. That is the expectation. They can try for only skills, but this knowledge, attitude, all these things you have to take care. So that is the expectations of the companies, which we'll see in detail. Next, how we as a college or we as a teacher want to equip the students accordingly. That is what we are going to see. So, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay, right. Now, the state of higher education, this is the first thing we are going to see. So, the value of college education is not the learning of facts, but it is training of the mind to think. So, like in high school, higher secondary school, you should not make students to memorize, gossip, learn, and vomit those answers in the answer paper and get grades and pass out. That will not help. The student has to understand the concept clearly, then he has to relate it to practical situations, and he should be able to do things practically. He has to think now, not only learning, he has to train his mind to think. Then only he can survive in the present world. So that is the first difference between school and higher secondary education and college education. Once he comes to college, he would be at the late teens. His age is at the late teens, and he is not supposed to be dealt in the same way as the high school students. So what are the challenges in higher education? These are the challenges. gross enrollment, how many people enter the UG, PG courses from the previous ones. Next, university education and what is the infrastructure of colleges, because to train good engineers, good accountants, good teachers, the colleges have to have good infrastructure. They have to be digitalized, all that. Job market placement, how the respective colleges, institute interact with industries, how they interact with industries, how they make their curriculum very relevant, how they invite company people for guest lectures, seminars and all that, and provide opportunity for the students to interact with them and answer the questions in their minds, how they relate to the practical things, industry oriented research. So how the teachers are involving themselves in the research. Are they just doing some mundane things and writing papers? Are they really involving themselves in research concerning the day-to-day problems? All these things affect inadequate financial support, how the colleges are funding the research ones, how the teachers are paid, then political interference. All these things affect the college, higher education and academic research. In that thing, what is relevant to our today's theme, campus to corporate. One is gross in enrollment ratio, next university education infrastructure, job market placement, industry oriented research. These are some things over which we can involve ourselves and do something. The other things are beyond our control. If we involve in these things and do our bit, then that improves the employability of the students. So next, what gross enrollment ratio from 2008 to 2016, how it has changed. In 2008, it was about 1.3 crores. By 2016, it has increased to 2.84 crores. And in 2020, it is about 3.8 crores. About 3.8 crores people are able to come till higher education and study. This 3.8 crores is how much of percentage of our population and how much percentage of the people coming from higher secondary, how much have dropped out, all these things we have to think. So if they are coming till college, we can say in Indian context, they are very lucky. So they would have come with lot of efforts and aspirations of their parents, spending so much money. So we have to give value for their money and help them to pursue their dreams or equip them to achieve their dreams. So this is about gross enrollment ratio. Now in 2020, how it is? It's close to 3.7 lakhs. So male 26.3, female 25.4. Slight decline, but female enrollment is increasing every year. So this is about gross enrollment. Next, what are the other problems facing the higher education? Lack of quality faculty, the faculty who can motivate students, who can help students practically, who can interact with students, their qualifications, skills, such fully equipped faculty. There is lack of quality faculty. Next, employability of students, that is also a great concern. Next, absence of fresh curriculum that is benchmarked with global standards. And if you see, most of our curriculum is very old and outdated, and it does not reflect the practical things. Next, lack of global perspective. Now, students have to compete globally when they go for jobs, or when they want to start a new company, or they want to go for higher education in foreign countries. They have to compete globally. So your education also should have global perspective. And lack of quality jobs. And we know many of our engineers, accountants go for very simple jobs like back-end jobs. Next, increasing fees. Fees is increasing every year. That also a factor. And there are other factors. So in this, what are the factors concerning us? Lack of quality faculty, employability of students. These two things bother us more on campus to corporate. Next, challenges for the next 5 years. This is the challenges, what we have seen in the last slide is challenges now, and what is the next 4 years. And this is both the challenges as seen by the institutions and alumni. The first one is institution, second one is alumni. Alumni is old students who are a real treasure for any college. Any college which have not started their alumni association and not have involved their alumni in the development of students, they are doing a very grave mistake, because alumni can play a good part because they know about the college, they know about the industry, and they have some soft corner for our college. So they should be used. So increasing fees is one, absence of fresh curriculum. Next, employability of students, lack of quality faculty, lack of global perspective. So these are the 5 things which is concern for the Indian education system in the next 5 years also. So our topic today, campus to corporate role of teachers, is a very hot topic in this context. Next, what is employability? Employability is nothing but a person's capability for gaining and maintaining employment. Not only getting employment, but also maintaining it. Next, employability depends upon the knowledge, skills, and attitudes individual possess and the way he presents those to employees. So his knowledge, skills, and attitudes, all the 3 matter, and how he presents it in the interview, that also matters. So demand and supply, that we don't have control. Next, employability across domains. So for BTech, it is 52, 57, it has increased. For MBA, it has come down. For arts, it's stable. For BCom, it's increased. For BSc, it's increased. For MCA, it is increased. For Polytechnic, it's come down. For B Pharma, it has come down. So this is the employability across various courses for the past 5 years. Next, what? Unemployability is now a bigger problem than unemployment. Unemployment, as you know, demand and supply problem. Unemployability is the suitability of candidates for the given job. This is more of concern, and this is what we are also going to address through our seminar today. So education, we have to look at intelligence, knowledge, skills, leadership, goals, training, commitment, and all this. So next, we have to know our students. We have seen the higher education and what is the problems there. Second, we have to understand the students. The students who are now in college are Generation Z students. They are born from 1995 to 2015. So oldest will be 25 years and the youngest will be 5 years. So this is the generation which is in college now, to whom you are going to address. You have to understand them. So this is a 6-year-old fellow who has developed a best-selling app, and he is invited by Google to visit their US office. A 6-year-old Indian coder is he can do coding at 6 years, and he is selected by Google for a US visit. So that is the kind of exposure and thing they have, Gen Z. Next, they prepare for their future courses like JEE, NEET, and NAT from 8th standard itself. So that is the demand and that is the expectation from parents and colleges, so that they start preparing from 8th standard itself. So how are these Generation Z people? They are social and spend time on social media. Per day, around 6 to 7 hours they spend on social media. At the same time, they can do multiple tasks. They will be operating on phone, they will be attending a call, they will be doing something on the laptop or tablet. So that's multiple tasking. Next, they want to be entrepreneurs. They want to be on their own. They want to develop new ideas and do something new. They are well educated. They are philanthropy. They are also want to give back something to society early, not during retirement or something like that. In the early stages itself, they want to give back to society. Next, they are digital natives. They are very comfortable with digital things. they are interactive. They want to interact with people. They don't want to just listen. They won't listen also. They want to listen to teachers, parents. They want to interact with them. Next, they are very tech savvy. They are technically very comfortable with all tech gadgets and less focused. This is one problem with them. They cannot continuously focus for anything more than 8 seconds. That is their focusing. After 8 seconds, they drift away. Again, they need to come back. So this is where teachers play a role. They have to constantly bring their students back to class. Next, cautious, and they are very economic and other things where they are cautious and they don't risk it. This is because their previous generation, millennials, have taken great risks and they have suffered. So this generation that is not keen to take risks. Next, the students of the 21st century, they have grown with ICT technology. They breathe, they live, they date, they play, they meet, they learn everything they do technology. That's you can see in your kids and also other students. You can see they do everything do technology. They don't go out and play. They play there. They get their friends on social media. They have dating apps. They meet people on video calls. All the things they want to do only through technology. So that is their identity. Next, what are the priorities of the millennials? What do they want to do once they grow up and get jobs? First priority is they want to travel all around the world. Traveling is their priority. Next, they want to get good salaries. Next, they want to buy homes. Next, they want to have a positive impact on society. They want to impact society. They want to do some good things. And their last priority is family. So this is where their conflict with parents arises. They are not in a hurry to get married and start a family. So these are all priorities. So when you coach students or motivate students to take up the job, you have to keep these things in mind. Accordingly, you have to motivate them. Next, what is important to them? Doing something they enjoy. Next, financial stability. These are the more two things. How do they want to be communicated? Social media, email, phone, texting. Face-to-face is only 43%. The other is 57%. So you have to keep these things in mind here when interacting with them. Next, just because they are very comfortable with Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, they are good with devices, are they using it for learning? That you cannot guarantee. This is where teachers have to play a role. They use technology to make these people learn. So what are the traits of, how should the teacher be to teach to touch students? He should be very social, he should have a social media presence, you should be very relevant, up to date. Next, you should be forward thinking. The teacher should be able to think what is going to come, what technology comes in the next, you should be prepared for that. The teacher should be continuously learning. The tutor should be actively engaged. The tutor should, if necessary, collaborate with students on projects. The teacher should collaborate with best people in the industry and come out some good work. And it should be student-centered. Okay, so these are the traits of the teacher, what you all have to keep in mind. Next, what are the characteristics of the 21st century educator? He should be adapted, he should quickly adapt, he should be a great communicator, he should be very effectively communicate to the next generation, Generation Z, and make them understand. He should be very crisp and fast. Next, he should be a great learner, he should be a role model, he should be a collaboration, he should be a risk taker. Next, what are the skills required for modern teachers? Number one skill is commitment. You should be very committed to your job. Otherwise, if you have some personal issues or if you have some issues with other colleagues, all these things should not affect your job. You should be 100% committed, then only you can do your job effectively. And deal with the present day students because it requires a lot of attention and lot of what you say, alertness on your part. So you cannot be thinking of your personal problems in the class. Next, you should come prepared. You should not be caught red-handed because students are very well with the internet and they would also have exposure to things. So you should come prepared. You should be very well organized. You should have tolerance to listen to students. Next, you should be good in storytelling. You should tell difficult aspects also in an interesting manner. Next, you should be open for questions. After your lesson, whatever you do, you should take questions and answer their queries. Next, you should be innovative. Next, you should be technology enthusiast. You have to be learn new technologies like social video conferencing and all your project tools, all the latest technology. You should be willing to learn. Then only you can be communicating with students. Next, you should be very social. Next, you should be a knowledge geek. And what are the things Gen Z think about higher education? Regarding the content, they don't want to use the printed material. They want you to prepare your own content and give based on the inputs collected from various sources. This is what they prefer. They don't want to copy notes from somewhere or download internet. All that they don't want. They want you to go to various sources and prepare your notes or guide them to prepare. Next, they are open to virtual reality. They want examples from practical world along with the theoretical lessons. They want that compassion. Next, personalization. They want time to be spent with each student in clearing their doubts and do their projects. They want personalization. And what are the reasons to go to university? They are interested about the subject. They think the teacher can give good inputs. They want to continuously learn. They are hooked to a particular career and feel that by doing a course in your college, you can easily get that. Next, they want to be intellectually stimulated. They want to get life skills and vagera vagera. Next, how do they think a particular college is good? Mainly because of teaching staff. This is where teachers have a good role to play. Next, graduate employment rate. That college has good placement records. Next, up-to-date technology. That college is well equipped. Next, good university rankings. Placements are well organized. Face-to-face teaching hours. And their queries should be responded quickly and they should get good salaries. So these are the expectations from the college. So we have seen various things. Employability is a set of things, understandings, and personal attributes that make graduates more likely to gain employment and be successful. So this is what employability we are talking about. So now we go to company expectations. Now, any observations or any questions based on the presentation so far? Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Any observations based on the present so far, or I continue?
Shri Priya ma'am. Hello.
Hello?
Shri Priya madam is there, sir?
Not there.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Please continue, sir.
Okay. No, the audience want to give any observations so far, or should I continue?
Please continue, sir. Please continue, sir.
Okay, now we want to understand the expectations of the company. We have seen the status of the higher education. Next, we understood the learner, the students. Now we go to the expectations of the company. So these are the observations by HR heads of different companies on the present college students. I want you to carefully go through this. What they say. What does the manufacturing or MNC says? What does the IT industry guys say? So students lack good English and good communication. They are unable to construct grammatically correct sentences. They don't know what is pace, tone, and pronunciation. So this is mainly due with communication skills. Next, in IT industry, in voice jobs, non-voice jobs, communication is very important. So most of the students get rejected for their lack of good voice and good English. Next, HR head from a manufacturing company, he says the problems with listening, comprehending, assimilating, and responding. So in this area, they face problems that he thinks will create problems for him in future. So the students should be trained in communication skills. That is the essence of this slide. Next, basic difference between a campus and a corporate. Campus is a different area, corporate is a different area. So in campus, with minimum marks you can pass a exam. If you get more marks, you are rewarded. Otherwise, there is no problem. Your work hours are limited. Then you have to memorize and get marks. Practicals are only 25%. You can do your duty and go off and something like that. But when you become an employee, every day is a test for you. Daily you have to show your skill in practical things. There is no theoretical things. You should mix it other people. You should be a team player. Next, you have to finish your tasks in the given time. Then your effort should be maximum. If your effort and output is maximum, you are rewarded. You cannot go with minimum percentage, something like that. So this is the basic difference between campus and corporate. So next I'm going to show you some slides. I want you to observe these slides very carefully and note what is the knowledge, skills, and attitude required for different jobs. And on this, I want your feedback. After looking at these slides, if you can give me your observations on knowledge, skills, and attitude, then we can take it back. I will show you 4 slides. You please go through them very carefully. So this is for
மேம் இல்ல மேம் அவங்க கேட்டாங்க இப்ப ஏதோ ப்ரொசீட் பண்ணுவோம்.
So this is for a company called PhonePe. They want a customer care officer. This is the requirement. In each of slides, what I want you to do is just note down the knowledge, skills, and attitude. What are the requirements? Then we can discuss after these 6-7 slides and take it forward. I'll give 1 minute for each slide. You can just go through and discuss. Next, this is for technical support. See the requirements. I want you to look at what is the knowledge required for this position, what are the skills, and what is the attitude, all the 3. If you can note down somewhere or just remember and observe, then we can discuss this one. This is for a graduate trainee. This is AstraZeneca, is a MNC pharma company. See the requirement, how clearly it is written. So when you go for bigger companies, your requirements also be very clear and vast. Just go through the requirement.
Sega sir,
Sorry, madam.
presentation. Okay, sir.
தெரியுதா?
தெரியுது.
Next, HR executive requirement are given from different companies for different positions because your college has different courses and UG, PG in various disciplines. I just picked some positions. Next, strategic marketing and sales management. This is for a MNC company, Floyd Inc. Look at their requirements. Next, Capgemini, a famous company for accounts executive. This is the requirement. It's very clearly given the job description. Why I am showing you these descriptions and requirements are because if you have an idea of what the students have to go there to the companies and do, you can train them accordingly during their stay in the college. You can give them, apart from your theoretical knowledge, you can provide them opportunities to grab the practical knowledge, and you can also train them on some skills and attitude. These are the things required for corporates. Next, this is a very recent advertisement. It is mentioned about quarantine also. So his requirement is very simple. Just develop a 20 to 25 associates, and you can have your own strategic business unit within the company. A great opportunity for those who have the entrepreneurial mind. So what are the skills required? You can see. So what do you think the employers look for in fresh candidates? So I want you to just type in the chat, what are the things required in terms of skills and attitude. You can type in the chat what you observed, so that it makes the interaction more meaningful. Can you type out in the chat? What are the skills and attitude required for different positions based on your observation so far? Spoken skill, problem solving, Sri Priya, good. Next.
Participants, you can post your answers in the chat box.
Employability skills. So what are the skills? Attitude. Then there are about 25 of us. If you post at least 2, completion of work assignment, we'll get about 50 skills. Soft skills. Vijay Lakshmi, madam, can you be more specific? Which are the soft skills? Communication, personality skills, okay. Immediately catch the customer's expectation, very good. Then I want each of you to post at least 2. New things find, okay, finding new things. Creative skills, okay, very good. Environment, adaptable, adapting to the environment, very good. Adaptivity is a good skill. Excellent analytical skills, yes, very good. Then updating knowledge, yes. Okay, those are the skills. Regarding attitude, can you type few words which you observed? Regarding skills, you have given good. Regarding attitude, can you give some? Smart work, updating knowledge, okay. Time management, okay. Discipline, very good. Self-motivation, okay. Energy levels, yeah, they have to have good energy throughout the day. Very good. Competitive, yes, very good. So skills plus attitude. Knowledge is what you give in classroom. Spontaneous attitude, approach, very good. Focus, yes, focus is very good. Okay, that is the knowledge, skills and attitude which we have to gain. So we'll continue with our question. How we know what is the status of higher education in India. We knew about the students. We know what are the skills, knowledge, and attitude required. How do you prepare your students? These are the things companies look in a fresher. Again, one more time, refresh. They want committed people who can work enthusiastically, leadership qualities, who can fit into that business, who have done some short-term jobs and internships, then understanding of domain. So in 2007, helicopter with a cameraman. Now a drone has come and replaced both the pilot and cameraman jobs. So this is the things how technology is making dabs redundant. In 10 years, both the pilot job and the cameraman job has been reduced. How can you improve on your learning? What are the opportunities for teachers to improve on their learning? Summer internship, project, assignment, keeping updated, holding some technical events, management events in the college, starting some clubs, and giving opportunity for the students to exhibit their passion. You can encourage them to write, make videos, present papers, all that you can encourage. The summer internship and project and assignment, it should not be just cut, copy, paste. It should involve some practical element. You have to take a very simple practical problem and collect some good data and analyze it and present. That adds value. It should not be mundane. So these things you have to use effectively. Your summer internship, project assignment, then networking, then holding events in the college, starting clubs and giving them opportunities to show their passion. Next, companies normally hire for attitude and train them for skills. If he has a good attitude, he has very good chances of getting hired, even if he lacks a bit in skills. But if he scores bad in attitude and still has good knowledge and skills, he will not be selected. Next, what are the top 10 skills according to World Economic Forum survey? These are all skills we saw in the advertisements. Complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, coordination, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, cognitive flexibility. So how can you improve the skills? So first, volunteering. Students can volunteering in their workplace, college or community to do various things which are of community interest. They can take part in blood donation camps, Swachh Bharat cleaning camps, then educating people with no knowledge and taking classes for this underprivileged students, developing a community website, a fundraising event. In all such things, they can take part. Next, participating in public speaking forums like Toastmasters, or in your colleges also, you can have debating clubs or something. This is just to improve their speaking, debating, argument, negotiating, all these skills they can improve. Or they can write their own blog, or they can prepare videos, and the main thing is share them. You should not write a blog or a video and keep it with you. You have to share them. Next, join professional networking groups, trade or industry associations, and leadership programs. There are a lot of professional networking groups like NHRD, NIPM, JCs, a lot of things for Computer Society of India, Accountants Club, a lot of things depending upon what you want. So you can become a student member of that and take advantage of that. During that interaction, you can also find a mentor who helps in your professional growth. Next, this mentoring, he has to motivate you, he has to advise you, he has to lead you to success, he can direct you, he can help you set goals, he can train you, all these things he can do. So getting a mentor will be a very big step in your professional development. What are some professional networking sites? Of course, LinkedIn is the top site. Then another like Meetup, Zing, Bark, Opportunity, Jobcase, Lunchmeet, Twitter threads, Facebook groups, Summary. All these things are there. You can use to network with professionals and like-minded people. So LinkedIn is the number one. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, your students doesn't have, if you don't have as a teacher, your first thing to go back today and create a LinkedIn profile. It will help you to come in contact with your like-minded people, your possible mentors, and students and teachers in other colleges. You can show whatever you do, good works you can show there. It will go to the notice of the concerned people. So LinkedIn profile is a very good place where you can showcase your knowledge, skills, and attitude. Whatever good things you can do, you can showcase, and that will reach your target audience very easily. So LinkedIn also has some good training programs where you can try on the skills needed online and all that. LinkedIn is the ultimate professional networking. So if you don't have, or a student don't have, your highest priority or a takeaway from this training program is to go and create a LinkedIn profile. Next, how to find a mentor and make it work. Even from LinkedIn, you can create a mentor. You can find out a mentor. So if you have to have a mentor, you should have these things clearly. You should have clear goals. You should research well before you zero in on a mentor. You have to make a good introduction of what you're ready to introduce to him. You can either write to him or have a personal talk. You should be very specific about what you expect from him so that you can communicate to him and get his help. So now you are ready with all the inputs. So post-COVID, how will things be? That if you can imagine, then you can help your students. All the things what you used to do offline, you should be able to do online. That is the main thing. And also, in most cases, you need not go to the workplace. You have to do it from your home. This is the second condition. So you have to have new technical skills to do these things that you have to learn during this COVID. So that you
வால்யூம் லெஸ்ஸா இருக்குது ஆடியோ கொஞ்சம் கேட்கல சார் சரியா.
Okay, so reimagining India for the post-COVID world, you have to prepare yourself for the post-COVID world. whatever things you have to do offline, you have to do online. So accordingly, you have to get updated in technical things. You should be able to do with technology. For that, you have to equip yourself during the COVID, so that post-COVID you can do all the things. You should be comfortable with video conferencing tools and other online learning tools, online teaching tools. All these things you should get yourself accustomed with during this COVID. So what are the best online platforms? Even UGC has advised the universities to permit students to do internship from home during the lockdown that they are considering. And what are the online course platforms? Coursera, Skillshare, Udemy, Springboard, Treehouse, LinkedIn Learning, Career Foundry, and there are many other courses. So you can pick the course you want, or you do a study of yourself, whatever thing you are lacking in. You can pick the course accordingly online and equip yourself. Now, online education or certifications are accepted everywhere, so you can do that. Next, this is the advice which we have for the present period. Accept the current circumstances, that you cannot move out, you need not go to your workplace, you have to work from home, you have to maintain your health from home only, then you have to other people, then you have to do a SWOT analysis of yourself, keeping your dream job and the present situation in condition. Are you really equipped for that job? What is the skill, knowledge, and attitude required for that job? And whether you are matching in all the three aspects, you have to do an introspection. Then you should equip yourselves accordingly. You should expand your networks. You can do that to social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that. You just identify people who can help you post this lockdown and get their contacts. Next, you have to express your creativity. Being you have a lot of time, so to use your time and you polish your skills, you can express your reading, writing, speaking, and other technical skills. Then you have to be very optimistic. As we have seen earlier, as a country, we have come over many obstacles, economic obstacles, and positively came over that situations. Now this situation also can come. Once we come out of that, we should be ready for the future. That is, you should be employable in future in all aspects. Knowledge, skills, and attitude. Your students should be equipped in all these three things for the future. So that you have to ensure. Next, I am a member of NHRD Hosur chapter for the past 15 years. I was ex-secretary and now I am a EC member taking care of the industry institute activities. This NHRD is also acting near Coimbatore also. You can get associated with it and take advantages. So it's a very professional networking opportunity. So you can keep in touch with me. This is my number, this is my email ID, and this is my LinkedIn. How I want you to keep touching with me through LinkedIn. So create your LinkedIn profile today. If you already have, send me a friend request. So that's it, friends. That's from my side. I think now if you have any questions or your observations regarding this FDP, please type in the chat or share it through voice. That's all from my side.
Participants, you can post your questions in the chat box. Otherwise, you can ask the questions.
Ask the questions.
Thank you. Participants, any queries?
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, that in our real curriculum syllabus is
Yes.
really help to our the post-COVID economy will increase. It will increase.
No, as it is, your syllabus will be only 25% helpful for the students in doing job. So that will be further reduced, I think, in future. So you have to learn new skills.
other queries?
Any other observations regarding the seminar, whether it's useful or not useful, something like that? Your comments and queries you can chat or post.
Sekhar sir,
Solomon.
shall we close it, sir?
Yes.
Any other queries from participants? Okay. Radha
Good
ma'am.
afternoon, sir. Hello, ma'am. Sri Priya,
Good
ma'am.
afternoon.
Just a minute.
Kelung ma'am.
Sir,
Kelung.
good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is Dr. Vijayalakshmi from Management Department.
Yeah, good afternoon, madam.
This online coaching and the teaching webinars and the seminars, it will be effective for our students. How far it will be effective?
It all depends upon how disciplined our students are. It will not be
Okay.
not as effective as it is to be face to face. But this
Okay.
is the future, madam. You have to equip for this.
Okay. So
Okay.
now my question is compare with the classroom teaching and the online teaching. I'm asking about the comparison between the online teaching. Which one will be the effective one?
No, you have a lot of good tools.
Okay.
But the attention of students is one thing which you have to worry about.
Okay.
That we don't have any control.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Radha ma'am.
Ma'am. Hello. Hello.
Tell me, madam.
Hello.
Tell
Ma'am.
me.
Ma'am, okay, ma'am.
Radha ma'am, you can proceed, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon to all. I would like to express my profound gratitude to our principal, sir, Mr. B. Gunalan, and our vice principal, sir, Mr. Bhaskaran, our coordinator, computer studies, Mr. J. Jaibu Vidirajan, sir, and our HOD, ma'am, Mrs. G. Sri Priya, ma'am, and the most respected today's chief guest of today, Dr. N. Shekhar, and my dear faculty members. I hope the session is very useful to all, and I'm very much happy to extend my sincere thanks to our today's chief guest who made our session useful. And on behalf of our KST institution and each and every one of you, I thank you, sir. Once again, I thank you all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for the opportunity. Hope you benefited.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
thank you.
ma'am. Participants, I'll post the feedback form in the KSC college group. You can fill it and you can get your certificates. Sekhar sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir, recording close பண்ணிரலாங்களா?
Close madam.
Close பண்ணிடலாம்.
Thank you all participants.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ashok sir. Ashok sir.
மேம் ஹலோ
சார் என்னாச்சு?
மேம் அதான் முடிஞ்சதுங்க, சர்டிஃபிகேட்ஸ் முடிஞ்சதுங்க.
ஓகே, நான் நாகராஜ் சார் சொல்லி ரெக்கார்டிங் க்ளோஸ் பண்ண சொல்லிடுறேன்.
ஓகே க்ளோஸ் பண்ணுங்க.